Have you guys been searching for the perfect camera? Well, I can honestly say I think we're getting pretty close. This is the Sony a7CII Mark II. I'm also currently filming on another Sony a7CII Mark II. So let's get right into this video. There's a lot to cover. Now, why did I purchase two Sony a7CII IIs? Well, for the longest time, I've been shooting with the Sony a7 IV, which by the way, has been an amazing camera. It's been my workhorse for weddings, corporate, and a lot of other things. It's been a fantastic hybrid camera. And the Sony a7CII II actually shares the same sensor as the Sony a7 IV, but there are some new differences and some added features, which really I love about this camera. Let's get into them. I guess the first reason I went towards the Sony a7CII Mark II is because of the form factor. I love the size of the form factor, and considering that my hands are still pretty comfortable, it has a nice grip, I'm very happy with it. For me lately, it's been more about run and gun scenarios where I can carry a smaller setup but still get that punch that I need. You still have the 15 stops of dynamic range. It's still down sampling from a 7K sensor, which is amazing. The image quality coming out of this is fantastic. You also now have the new added AI autofocus, which honestly has been a breeze. The a7 IV, the FX3, even though they don't have the AI autofocus, have been still phenomenal with the autofocus. But having the AI, now it's a lot better. You can wear sunglasses and it can still track your eyes, etc. There's so much to love about it. Another big reason I went towards the a7CII Mark II is because of the Lut input. This is on the FX3, the FX30, and I really wish they had it on the a7 IV, but having it on this has been incredible. Being able to see what your finished product is going to look like, especially if you're using LUTs, has been such a big bonus for me, guys. So that's another reason I absolutely love this camera. Another really cool feature that I love is the IBIS. Now the in-body stabilization is 7 stops, while the a7 IV was 5.5. So it's a lot better than the a7 IV, but not quite like the a7R5, which has, I believe, 8.5 stops. So better, but not quite at the a7R Mark V level, but still fantastic. Especially if you're vlogging, doing this kind of style, 7 stops is gonna be a breeze. Now, when purchasing this camera, I did consider a few other options. I considered the Sony ZV-E1, which looked like a great option, having the FX3 kind of like sensor and being small and compact. I really considered it. But after looking at a lot of reviews and people commenting on the overheating and realizing I wouldn't be able to really use it on a long shoot if I had to film interviews or that kind of style, and having to worry about that, especially in Australia right now, how hot it is, I decided against it. Also, I've just remembered how much I love the viewfinder, and on the FX3 not having that has always been a little bit upsetting for me because I do enjoy it. And now having it on the a7CII Mark II, I honestly love it and I use it a lot. Now the resolution isn't great, it's 2.3 million dots, but for me, honestly, it's fantastic. It's perfect for a small compact camera like this. I'm really happy. The fact that I can now look in the viewfinder, I'm super happy. I didn't honestly think I was gonna pick up a Sony a7CII Mark II. I never really even considered it originally, but seeing it being used and just what a beautiful camera it is. I've shot actually a few things with this. We did a spec ad for Miller and we used the Sony a7CII Mark II and I just love it. It's compact, it's fantastic, and like I said, it's a workhorse. So like the a7 IV, it can still shoot up to 4K 60. Obviously you have the crop, the 1.5 times crop, which I'm not really a fan of, but there's gotta be some compromises, unfortunately. So that's the only kind of down thing for me. Not a major problem, I guess, especially if you're on a wide lens, you just have to live with it. But besides that, pretty much the same sensor in a smaller body that has obviously a lot less buttons. Now, if you're someone who likes to customize, the a7 IV is probably gonna be the better option. For me, I'm a little bit more old school. I haven't really missed all the additional buttons. Another thing it doesn't have is it doesn't have the little joystick, which again, I never really used on the a7 IV, so it wasn't a big deal for me. Some of the other drawbacks that people might want to consider, two things in particular, is the fact that it now only has one SD card slot, and the other thing is the fact that it has micro HDMI cable. For me, the micro HDMI cable is probably the only downfall that I really think that would bother me the most. The one SD card slot isn't the worst case scenario for me. I have the FX3, which is my main A cam, that always has 2 SD card slots in. These are sort of like B and C cams. and more for kind of my YouTube setups. So for that, I'm very happy. The micro HDMI, I'm not really a fan of. I really wish it was a full HDMI, but how can you get that on such a small body? So considering that, I'm still very happy with the build quality and everything that's included. Of course, there's got to be some compromise, but considering everything, it's a great body. So we're going to talk about the autofocus. I just made a couple notes really quickly. So obviously it's AI-powered real-time recognition autofocus. So now it includes human, animal, bird, insect, car, train, and airplane detection. Now for this, you will have to select it, not like some of the newer cameras. I think on I believe it's the A1 Mark II, it will actually automatically detect. On this one, you do have to select, but it's still very cool to have that option. 759 phase detection AF points covering 94% of the frame, and real-time IAF and real-time tracking for precise subject focus, and obviously enhanced subject tracking for video as well. Now obviously for the video side, we do have the 4K 60, which is full pixel readout, so there's no binning involved, which is great. We still have the 10-bit 422, which is absolutely phenomenal. We also still have S-Cinetone, S-Log3, so if you want to match it with the FX3, you still absolutely can, and that's been an honest breeze for me. Absolutely love it. We've also got the new menu system as well, which has been fantastic. You have a lot more options. Also, the display on the LCD now is even better because it used to be on screen, which was annoying. Now it's at the bottom, so it doesn't bother seeing the actual display, which has been such a great thing. In terms of the low light and ISO, it's obviously a dual base. It has 800 ISO, which is its native base, and then its second base is 3200 ISO. Coming from the FX3 that has 640 and 12,800, do I miss it? Of course. But 3200 for most scenarios will be more than enough, and having a fast lens like this one right now, which is the 50mm f1.4, has been fantastic and really does help in low light scenarios. There's also focus bracketing and time-lapse mode in it, which is honestly awesome. I love it. The webcam feature has been phenomenal, just like on the SM4. I wish this was something they added on the FX3 and some of the other models, which is a shame. I don't know why, but the webcam feature has honestly been fantastic. I can just connect it through the USB-C, and it's honestly a real breeze. Now also on the webcam feature side, you can run it up to 4K as well, while on the previous model like the SM4, you can only run it in 1080, but that's for the HDMI. Because I'm running it through the USB-C, I'm capped at 1080 25p, which I'm happy with. A quick mention as well, what I noticed with the SM4 and the difference between this one when you're live streaming or you're using the webcam feature for the USB-C, this one actually gets charged completely, while on the SM4 it was actually losing power, so it wasn't actually being charged. So that's a really cool feature as well, which I'm really happy about. It also continues using the MPF 100 batteries, which is awesome, so I can go from the FX3, the SM4, straight onto this. So that's been a real breeze. Battery life on this is actually phenomenal. I get close to about 2 hours. Obviously a little bit of time may be cut because of the AI powered chip, but you don't really notice it, and I still think it's a great benefit to have, so I'm very happy about it. Now we're just going to talk briefly about Autoframing. This is a cool feature that was introduced, I believe, on the Sony ZV-E1, and it's a feature that I haven't really used much, but I think it's such a great cool feature for more solo kind of filmmakers that are on the go, that want to kind of a little bit of movement, but don't necessarily want to do it in post. This one kind of just frames up and kind of moves with you, kind of crops in a little bit, and having that kind of 7K sensor that it can crop in from is pretty awesome. So you still get that nice sharp image, and there's a little bit of movement as if someone's holding the camera, as you can see here. So that's a really cool feature that I'm still kind of exploring and learning about, but a really cool addition for solo filmmakers. We're just going to read through a few quick notes. So smart shooting assist features, we have the breathing compensation, which minimizes focus breathing during video recording for professional looking footage. We have the digital zoom in 4K, which again is really cool. We have also the focus map, which is like a visual representation of depth of field zones for precise manual focus adjustments. We also have the high speed continuous shooting, so 10 frames per second burst shooting, mechanical and electronic shutter. So this is great for action, sports and wildlife photography, and we have buffer capacity, so hundreds of raw images without slowing down, which is awesome. So who is the Sony a7CII Mark II for? I would say if you're a hybrid shooter where you do a lot of video and photo, this is a phenomenal option. If you're a vlogger, a YouTuber, someone who's kind of getting started and wants a smaller setup that packs a punch, this is honestly a camera I can recommend. I actually sold my a7 IV and decided to go full on with these, so I bought two. I got the Leo photo for the cage, which is fantastic. Small rig was completely out, and this cage has been phenomenal. You got a lot of points, it's nice and compact, and it's great. These cameras are honestly fantastic hybrid options. The a7 IV is still an absolute workhorse, and if that's something you prefer, if you like the bigger setup or whatnot, that might be the better option. But for me, having a setup where I travel and have to be always on the go, this camera has been phenomenal with very little drawback comparing it to the a7 IV. With the AI autofocus as well, its size, the EVF, I'm super happy and I can't recommend it enough. It's an interesting feeling. When I first moved to Sony from Canon, I got the Sony a7S3. And for me, the Sony a7S3 was the start of like a new chapter, and I was so excited. It was a camera that I just wanted to use all the time. It just really got me hyped. I'm actually starting to get the same feeling with the a7C Mark II. It really is a phenomenal little camera that really has a lot of power in it for what it is. And that being said, out of all the smaller bodies, I'd probably recommend this over the FX30, over the ZVE1, and the ZVE10 as well, only because I want full frame. You may be okay with APS-C. In that case, the Sony ZVE10 Mark II or the Mark I might be better options for you. But for me, so far, using this has been absolutely phenomenal. I'm really happy. I haven't experienced any overheating. I normally flip out the screen. Even in hot days, using it has been a breeze. And in Australia right now, it's been very hot. So overall, I really recommend this camera. This is probably the second to the a7S III that has got me so excited in terms of all the cameras that I've owned, including the FX3. It's just such a beautiful, compact, hybrid camera, and it's almost near perfect. I think if it had 4K 60 full frame, it would be there. But again, in a small body like this, you can't expect everything. I'm definitely excited to see what the Sony a7 V will bring, but overall, I'm super happy with these cameras. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you made it to the end, I really do appreciate it. Please hit that like button. It really does help the channel and I really do appreciate it. Also, quick note, if you did make it to the end, I just want to apologize. I haven't posted in, I'd say, the last month. It feels like a very hot minute. I've been super busy. I've been just away and I haven't had much time, but YouTube has been on my mind and I've got a lot of cool videos to showcase with you guys very soon. So I'm super excited about that. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, I will see you guys on the next one. Stay safe and be well.